So in this video, we are going to run a Sepolia L1 archive node. So the reason why you want to do this is because if you're running a Tyco L2 node, you're going to need a Sepolia L1 node in order to sync that. And if you use an RPC provider like Alchemy or Infura, eventually you'll get rate limited. So for L2 node runners, most of you will be wanting to run a local Sepolia node. So the guide is here on Tyco XYZ, and we're basically just going to run through this. First off, you need to make sure that you meet all of these prerequisites, mainly Docker being installed and running, and you have Git, and then you also have enough storage. It's going to be a little bit over 200 gigabytes of storage to do a full archive node sync. So with that out of the way, let's just run through the steps here. The first one is we need to clone ETH Docker. So I have a Ubuntu server here that I'm working on, and I will just run this command to clone ETH Docker. All right, and then next step, I'm copying over this default.env file into a private.env file that I can use to configure the node, and I will set the value of archive node to true. So you can just open this file up in some text editor. You could use, if you're on Windows, you can use Notepad. If you're on Linux or Mac, you could use something like Nano. I'm just going to use Vim, which works as well. And yeah, we'll take this value of archive node and we'll just set this to true. And I'll save this file, and that should be good. And then after that, we just need to finish this ETH Docker quick start. So there's really just 3 steps here: install the prerequisites, run the configuration, and then start the node. I already have Docker installed, so I don't need to do that. So I'll just run this config command, which will make it easy to set up the Sepolia node. So yeah, I'll do eth config, and it'll come up with some options. I want to set up a Sepolia testnet. It will be an Ethereum RPC node, consensus and execution client. For the consensus client, I will choose Lighthouse. For the execution client, I will choose Geth, and I will enable this rapid sync. Hit OK here. We don't need Mev Boost. I will enable Grafana dashboards, and then I will add a fallback fee recipient address, and this will configure the node. So it'll pull down those Geth images, Lighthouse images, and configure the node. There's one other thing that's not in the guide, but by the time you watch this video, it probably will be, where you need to add one more YAML file to this compose file key inside of the environment file. And that is el-shared.yaml. And what that will do is it'll expose the execution client RPC ports so that your L2 node can use it. So now everything's configured, everything's ready to go. So we'll just run that one command that we saw here, eth up, and we'll execute that. And this will bring up the images and start the node. So yeah, the default port that Grafana is running on is port 3000. So you can go to the, this will be running on localhost for most people, or you can use the local IP address or the private IP address of your machine. I think, yeah, I'm running a something called Tailscale, so I'm just gonna use this instead. But you can use your IP address or localhost. The default password is admin, admin. I'll just skip setting a password, and then you'll be able to see this Geth dashboard here. You can also search for Geth dashboard, and this will start updating as the node starts syncing. So, you know, first it needs to do a sync of the consensus client, which you can see here in Lighthouse summary. And yeah, you can see what's the current slot and everything like that. So this node is syncing now, and that's pretty much it. You'll see this chain head start to grow, and you'll see this storage size start to grow as well to around like 200 gigabytes or so. But with this, you should be able to use this as the L1 node RPC for your Tyco L2 nodes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks.